wanted to talk to you about magnetism. Um, and we're talking like paramagnetism, so very, very small charges. And so what they concluded, or their hypothesis, which they later proved, was that the water inside the cell is actually easy water. It is not water. It has no contaminants whatsoever in it. So that was the thing that really blew his mind, is that when contaminated water, put it against a hydrophilic material and then shined UV light, he cleaned the water. All the toxins moved out of that easy zone. And that's what led them further on down to starting to understand the power of the charge. So the power of the charge in a healthy blood cell is between 60 and 80 nano something charges. I forget exactly what the value was. And then they rode down the rabbit hole of saying, okay, so in a sick person's blood cell, what is the charge there? And they come to find out it's between, I think he said like 18 and 30 or 10 and 20, something low, significantly less. Well, of course, those people, they're sick. They don't have, really good blood flow. They're often cancer patients that have those really low levels of charge. And so on the last one, he also theorized that perhaps we're looking at cancer the wrong way, in the fact that we all know we all have cancer cells in us, right? That's no, it's a given. But why do some people get cancer and other people don't? And so his working hypothesis at this point is that it all has to do with the ability for that cell to hold that charge. So that leads you to, well, what increases the charge?
Right.
And I theorized with him. I said, you ever heard of sun gazing? He's like, no, what is sun gazing? I said, well, it's where you actually stare at the sun, but you have to do it like first thing in the morning at sunrise or at sunset. And it can be a little bit after sunrise, because at sunrise it's kind of red. You need to get it to a point where it's like yellow. And I go, so I've been sun gazing for years, and I always noticed it helped. It helped me process. It helped me think faster. And so I would typically, at the end of every day, I'll go out there and I'll stare at the sun for a few minutes. And what I noticed was that, and this probably is going to sound a little bit crazy to you, but if you try it, you'll probably see it. It takes time. It takes practice. You can't do this like all at once. Like, you've got to look at it and then let go, and look down and then look at it again. But if you get to the point where you can actually stare at the sun, you'll notice that it's flashing blue like Morse code at you. Like, literally like Morse code. It's not random, or it's totally random. There's no pattern to it. And so I'm talking to him about that. He goes, well, Leighton, you know what that is? That's UV light. You're allowing UV, that blue flashes, to penetrate your eyes, and your eyes are directly connected to your pineal gland, right? So what is our pineal gland? Well, our pineal gland is probably the most important part of our brain, as far as like overall brain function. It's like everything stems from that. It's you're getting into the realm between spirituality and overall bodily function. Like if you look at the great yogis, things that they can do, they can meditate for days, weeks without food or water, and extend their life, have outer body experiences, bend themselves in pretzel shapes. I mean, they can do all kinds of crazy stuff, superhuman stuff, literally. And so there's that connection between having really super well-developed and well-maintained brain health to overall physical health. There's a direct correlation to that.
Sure.
And it's often thought that because, or if one can practice to a point where they can get to that level, i.e. doing yoga, Pilates, some of these more I
Hmm.
want to say spiritual types of work, kung fu, tai chi. You can really start to elevate like your overall body. And so the theory is that because you're elevated, you are getting exposed to some of these more higher and lower frequencies that are not typically allowed or focused on in regular everyday humans.
Hmm.
And so he was like, yeah, that what you're doing by sun gazing is stimulating easy water to form or to hold a higher magnetic charge or paramagnetic charge in the cells. And that goes back to like, whoa, maybe that's partially why I haven't been sick in 10 to 15 years, is because I've elevated that level of easy water in the cells that is providing
Hmm.
that overall general health that prevents me from getting, the common cold. I never got COVID. I never had any of these things.
Hmm.
And so that's something that elderberry is clearly doing, because if it's reducing varicose veins, if it's reducing the need for blood pressure medicine, all these vascular health, right? It's not just part of the thing; it's the overall system that allows. And again, like if you don't have good blood flow, then you're going to have capillary die off. You're going to get varicose veins because they're swelling up so much because they're trying to get
Right.
blood to flow through them. So it's just common sense that makes sense that somehow elderberry is affecting the paramagnetic charge in the individual blood cells.